All right, so you're probably wondering, like, how do I create online passive income, right? What is something I can do that's not gonna take all of my life away, make it seem like I'll never see my family again or anything like that, but something that actually can give me this other stream of income that makes it easier on me? That's something that I've actually had a personal experience with, and I wanna share with you what's worked for me as well as for other people as well. And hang in there because some of this stuff is juicy and it's good. All right, first and foremost, I'm gonna make a disclaimer here. Nothing's ever gonna be fully 100% passive, right? Even when they say making passive income online, there's still things you have to do to create systems or get things in place to do that. The only thing I've seen be most passive is when you have money, you invest that money where somebody else does all the work, then yes, it can be kind of passive, but even then you're still managing people. So just understand that to be more passive, it requires people, processes, or systems, things like that that allow you to do this more. So anything I'm going to cover here is not going to be 100% passive, but man, some of it is still good where you don't have to, again, trade time for dollars, right? You don't have to keep working more hours to get paid an X amount of time. All right, so the first one is this, is that you can create some kind of product that can be then sold online. See, you can offer your labor, your time, and attention. You might get paid a salary, you might get paid an hourly wage, but the best thing you can possibly do is what can you create from your mind, right? What's something you have within you that can be put out there? And it's so much easier now than it was when I first started doing this. Because remember, back in the day, we were creating CDs, some people before my time were creating cassette tapes. I don't know if people ever created records of personal development, but I'm sure there was that too, right? Not too many 8-track tapes out there. But like we were doing CDs and things like that people can use. It could be video, it could be audio, and that you could still do that today. And you can actually put out what information you have. Do you have a hack or something you've used that could be working great? Now it could be YouTube, right? That could be something you could do, but this is something that can actually be put into an online product, something put on a website. Websites are easy to develop nowadays, super easy. Get that website up there and offer something and then drive people to it. It could be people through social media. It could be people through different chat groups or whatnot it might be, but drive them to that. I'll give you an example for my own life is that even though I've been doing this money type stuff for really now 23 years, right? I've been teaching about money for a long time. The thing is, like, even when I launched Money Ripples for the first time, about a year or two in, I was in this particular Facebook group that they were kind of more taking the spiritual aspect of things and abundance and, more of the philosophy. And a lot of them would keep saying, man, I wish I knew there was a way to actually create income from my passions. Like, how can you actually do what you love and the money will follow? Because a lot of them, they were doing what they loved, but money wasn't following. They're like, I wish I could just take my passion or my mission and turn it into money. And so I kind of came out and said, well, actually you can. In fact, I used to teach a live seminar with some other people where we would actually teach people how to make money using their strengths and their passions and things like that. And so I asked them in that group, I said, would it be beneficial if I taught that? And I got a whole bunch of likes and comments and things like that. And I said, okay, cool. So now I got the market feedback. And so I went to that same group. I said, tell you what, I'm going to do a special training. And this is a training I did where I actually did it live, but I recorded it as well. So I not only had it live, I said, I'll take 20 people only, and I'll just charge you $50. So really cheap, 20 people, $50. Do the math, that's $1,000. I recorded it. I did the training for them. They loved it. They thought it was great. I made $1,000, which was awesome for me at the time because I was trying to make money. I was trying to get that company off the ground. But the cool thing is now I had this product that I can now sell online on my website and then sell later on, or I can add it into other packages to make more money. So especially if you're a coach or any kind of trainer or anything like that, you might have something, and even if you're not, maybe you just have this nice how-to hack. I have another client who does bass fishing, and he teaches a lot of different hacks and things to do, and what kind of lures or baits to use and things like that to help people catch more bass fishing. You'd think that's a very niche market, but man, he's got more views than I got here on YouTube. So you never know, right? There's so many things you could offer to make money off of that kind of thing. The next thing you do is write a book. Now, writing a book, I'll tell you from my own personal experience, I hate it, okay? Even my own thesis in college, I actually made it about 35 pages because I added page breaks and I put pictures and graphs in it. I'm just one of those people, I'm not very wordy when it comes to writing. I just like to say it, type it out and be done, okay? I don't like to over embellish. I don't like to create flowery things. I just like to get to the point and be done with it. That's probably why I don't like to do videos more than 10 minutes anyways. Writing a book can be that thing for you. Now, it could be a short book. It doesn't have to be a long 300-page book. It could be much shorter. I've had a friend that used to call these coffee table books, if it's talking about the physical print, because they were smaller books, you can put it there and put your coffee mug right on top of it, right? It could be like that. It could be something that is longer or bigger. And the great thing is right now we've got AI to help us. I'm literally in the process right now of writing my very first full-length book, not short ebooks or anything like that, but an actual physical copy, using the help a little bit with AI to help get at least the transcriptions and everything done. By the way, if you hate writing like I do, great. You could take literally videos like this, transcribe them, or audios if you just do the audio version, and take that, transcribe it, and then you can go and wordcraft it or do whatever you need to do to create it into a book. So great way to do it. You can actually literally record your own chapters verbally, transcribe it, and then clean it up. And that's basically what we're doing right now. Now, books, I'll tell you this from personal experience. I mean, books can make you money from the book itself, but I'll tell you, in so many cases, it's not the book itself that makes you money, it's what the book leads to. If it leads to something else, maybe some kind of service that you offer or whatever it might be, credibility, it could lead to actually going on stages and speaking, making like $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 for an hour speech. That's what a book can do. That's what it can create for you. It can actually get you on different podcasts and get you on TEDx stages and things like that. It can open doors that lead to other types of income that can actually be much bigger than just selling the book itself. The next one is affiliate marketing. Affiliate marketing, what is that? Now, many people have kind of made this worse over time, but if you've ever been someone that said, hey, you should watch this movie, it's so good, or you should check out this restaurant, I love it. If you've ever done that, and in some small way, shape, or form, you've been an affiliate. You've been a referrer, right? You've referred somebody to that business. Now, this is something I learned pretty early on that I didn't realize was possible. I had a friend that said, well, have you ever thought about referring people on? Because I had a mortgage license. He said, well, what if you refer them to a guy that does it for you, right? What if you referred them to other businesses? What if you referred them to like the wholesale jeweler I bought my engagement rings and wedding rings from? Why don't you do that? Because it's a win for the business owner. It's a win for the person you're connecting, especially if they're good quality people. And it can be a win for you if they pay you a portion of their marketing budget. They pay you a referral fee. And that's really what being an affiliate is. A lot of times there's like Amazon type stuff you see out there, of course, and that's a possibility. But a lot of times you can do it with an actual individual business. So for me, I actually did it not just with a mortgage company, I actually did it with a wholesale jeweler. I would send people there saying, listen, you go to them, you'll pay a third of the cost of what you'll pay at the typical jeweler. You'll get it at wholesale. And they're like, cool, thanks. And then I would get a check in the mail from the jeweler saying, thank you for the referral, right? I actually have clients that literally will send people over to us. We'll give the people that they refer to us a discount, the friends and family discount, and then we'll also pay a little bit of money to our clients as well. So both get paid, both win in that situation. So there's lots of different ways you can do that. Is there a particular business? Are there certain things that you like to refer to all the time? Are there books you like to refer to? Could you use an Amazon link to then become an Amazon affiliate to then just drive them to buy the book through your Amazon link and then you get paid a little piece of that? There's so many ways to become an affiliate for less or for more that can help you really create a stream of income that's very easy. Literally, especially if you're an influencer or you're becoming an influencer, even easier in that situation. And then last but not least is you can do it with business. However, instead of just doing a business where you're self-employed, can you get people in there to do the tasks that you would be doing normally? Now, yes, you will get paid less than if you just did it on your own. However, what is your time worth to you? If you knew you could step away, you can create the systems and the management in place to do that. Maybe there's certain types of automations and things you could put in place. For example, our company, we do emails all the time, but we don't always have to craft the emails. We have emails going out automatically were written a couple years ago that new people get when they come into our database. By the way, if you go to moneyripples.com, you can see this firsthand. Now, if you get those emails were already crafted. They were done once, just like a book. They're written once, but then you can be sold many times. Just like your audios or videos that intellectual property can be sold and done many times. Same thing within your business. Can you create a business that, again, can be automated? It could be a franchise, but you might be paying a lot out of pocket for that. But can you get a business that can be run? You can get virtual assistants for literally like way cheaper than you can for some US people. Maybe you get US people, maybe you don't. But there's so many different ways you can do that to actually have a running business. For example, I had, some of you guys have been watching other videos on our channel. I have infinite banking we talk about, insurance business. I'll tell you firsthand, I don't like doing the paperwork. So I hire somebody to do the paperwork for me. Yes, I teach, I design and do all that stuff, but it's nice to be able to pass that on. I pay them a little bit, but I get paid the lion's share still. Now, I did this also first time when I was starting to learn about referring to different people. I mentioned I was a mortgage broker. Now, as a mortgage broker, I didn't like dealing with the paperwork then either. And so what I did is I actually found somebody in the brokerage that was a nerd, that was really good at doing mortgages. He was good with the paperwork, but he wasn't so much the sociable guy. So I came to him, I said, listen, if I prepare clients, I send them to, they're already ready to do a mortgage. You don't have to sell them. You just have to do all the work on the back end. Will you split it with me 50-50? And he said, yes, of course. If I don't have to find new clients, yeah, I'll pay you 50%. I said, great. And so I would teach them a little bit of strategy of what they could do with their mortgage. They would get excited. I'd say, great, talk to this guy and refer him over to him. And then he would do the work, and then I would get a check in the mail or, or draft or whatever, you get in your bank account for that 50%. Way easier, way less time, because again, I was able to use my strengths and couple it with his strengths. That became a great partnership. And again, you don't have to use all your time. I'll spend, like I said, about half hour, 45 minutes with these people to then get paid at least $1,000, $2,000 every time they closed. That's an awesome use and a great way to create passive income online. And by the way, if you have an online presence that then drives more traffic to you, that can also be referred to them. I was doing that face-to-face. Now with online, you can work with people all over the country potentially, right? So awesome ability, awesome ways you can make money in so many ways, even across the world, because of what we can actually do, because things are just getting faster and easier, and essentially even the technology is getting cheaper as well. All right, now if you're curious about real passive income, like where you can take your money, get your money to work harder for you so you don't have to work at all for it, then check out some of these other videos on our channel right now. Like and subscribe to this video, subscribe to our channel. There's plenty of videos talking about how you can create real passive income today.